Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, I would like to begin my testimony by sincerely thanking you for inviting me here today and giving me the opportunity to share my expertise on such a pressing issue. The Endangered Species Act, as we currently know it, has served as an incredibly effective tool in saving species throughout the United States. However, the amendment that we are here to discuss today, the Endangered Species Management Self-Determination Act, would significantly diminish the ability of the Endangered Species Act to perform in the manner it was originally intended. This amendment would be detrimental to the survival of many endangered and threatened species that are currently protected under the law. Before I discuss specific shortcomings that I believe the proposed amendment entails, I would like to highlight just a few statistics. It has been calculated that the current rate of extinction worldwide is at least 1,000 times the background rate, a rate that will have devastating consequences for our planet. In regards to the Endangered Species Act, an independent report has found that 90% of species that are protected under this law are recovering at the rate or at a faster rate than was calculated in their federal recovery plan. It has also been determined that at least 227 species would likely have gone extinct if it were not for the protections provided by the law. With these statistics in mind, I would now like to discuss several issues in Senator Paul's amendment that would greatly reduce the success of the Endangered Species Act if signed into law. The first alteration that the amendment makes that hampers the future success of the existing legislation is the provision that enables governors of individual states where endangered species are present to have the sole authority to enforce regulations, designate critical habitat, implement a recovery plan, and establish benchmarks and goals for these recovery plans. This change has many serious implications, but the one that I feel is most important to expand upon is the issue of habitat fragmentation. In order for species to recover to their fullest potential, they need ample habitat. However, if governors are given the power to create their own recovery plans for species that occupy habitat that stretches across state lines, the outcomes may be devastating. This is because governors would likely develop different conservation and recovery plans for the same species that would effectively lead to different levels of habitat protection and conservation. But if the species and habitat were to be protected by a single agency as it is currently, we can guarantee that habitat fragmentation would not occur as a result of different management plans. Secondly, this amendment forbids judicial review for any of the actions taken by individual governors. This stipulation effectively gives the governor's office the exclusive power to determine the best method by which to conserve endangered and threatened species. This is unacceptable. This provision effectively hampers the ability of the Endangered Species Act from making further protections at a future date. It is crucial to remember that science is constantly evolving and new research yields new results almost every day. To effectively block the legislative process by which new research could be implemented to improve our plans for our most fragile species is short-sighted, to say the least. Thirdly, I would like to point out that the proposed amendment requires that species be removed from the list of threatened or endangered species every 5 years. Species that are removed from this list can be placed back under protection pending a congressional joint resolution. This puts endangered species at the mercy of our politics. In addition, it is well documented that almost no species has ever recovered from either endangered or threatened status in 5 years or less. The bald eagle, an example of the Endangered Species Act's success, took over 25 years under the law's protection to fully recover. And finally, I would like to point out that although this amendment is likely to minimize costs by eliminating the need for services provided by federal agencies and consolidating them in governors' offices, it is crucial to note that threatened and endangered species have large economic values as well. It is very possible that the cost saved by adopting this amendment could be quickly outweighed by the loss of species that is likely to occur if the amendment is adopted. And with that, I would highly recommend that this amendment not be approved. Thank you for your time.